What's happening, guys? Chris from NCG here, and today we're doing a Gardevoir Sylveon deck profile. I'm just going to run through the deck, explain the card choices, and explain why you should consider this over quote-unquote a broken Gardevoir, the variant that plays no Sylveon and 4 max potions. So let's begin, shall we? Playing, of course, 3 Gardevoir GX, and partnering it, we're playing 1 Gallade. You may be questioning the 1 Gallade given how good it is against the Zoroark variants that have risen up thanks to the Norwegian stampede on the EUIC. 1 Gallade is fine though, because I'm playing, as you'll see in the list, 2 Parallel City, which hits the Zoroark deck really hard, because not only gets rid of problematic cards on the bench, but it really lowers the output of the Righteous Beating or Righteous Beating, one of the two. So Gallade is really good, but if I prize it, it's fine. I don't want to play 2 because it does get a bit clunky. It and Octillery is really good, but most of the time I just want to go for 3 guard rather than 2 guard and a Gallade or whatever else. So that's the reasoning for the 1 Gallade, 2 Kirlia, and the 4 routes. When you play on 2 Kirlia, because we are playing Sylveon, so it is really easy to get, so you're not just relying on hard drawing it as you would in the broken build. We have split the routes in the Kirlia. If you're unsure why, it's because Registeel is a deck, so they don't want you, or you don't want your routes to get one-shotted by the Registeel. If you're playing at a local event and there is no Registeel at your event, you can't play the 4 Fairy, or if there's lots of like Espeon, then play the 4 Fairy again. If there's loads of Registeel, play the 4 Psychic, so on and so forth. So that's the Gardevoir family. Then we are moving on to the Sylveon package. We're playing 3 EV and 2 Sylveon, just because you really want to open the EV as your starter Pokemon. So we're playing 3. 4 would get a bit too clunky, because then you'll start seeing excess copies as the game goes on, and you're not playing, unlike with like Tord's list, you're not playing Zoroark to actually make use out of excess copies. Tord, if you didn't know, played 3 Bridget, he would even up to 4, but he was playing Zoroark, which allows you just to get rid of dead cards and make use of them. But you do really want to open the EV, because against a deck like Zoroark, the only way it really beats Gardevoir is to overpower it in the early game, just by getting in knockouts ASAP and just setting up faster. So if you get out Sylveon first, not only do you prevent knockouts with Sylveon's quite mighty 200 HP for basically a basic, because of the energy evolution. So you are preventing knockouts while searching all your combo pieces, making the opponent burn through the ends, and if Sylveon does stick, then you pretty much won the game. The trade-off is of course the Mirror, the 4 max potion variant. Probably would be better for the Mirror match, however Sylveon is still really good, because the Plead GX just knocking back a double Gardevoir play and being able to allow you to set up. However, Twilight GX is phenomenal in the Mirror. So as a trade-off, you're getting a better Zoroark GX Gliscopod matchup, along with the Metagross matchup, which is popping up quite a lot. So that's why I've reverted back to this, because I have the Mirror is still not unwinnable. It is just the max potion build will probably give you a harder time, but the trade-off is the better matchups all round. So that's where we're playing the 5 Sylveon engine, then the 1-on-1 Octillery. You don't really need any more, to be honest. It gets kind of clunky afterwards, especially if you're playing like 3 EV, but I'll run through sort of like excess card choices you can play at the end of the list, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, 3 Lele, not really say about that. Most decks, if not all, play at least 3 Lele right now. Moving on to the supporters, we have 4N, 2 Sycamore, and Lily. I really dislike Sycamore heavily, because I seem to always get it in the earlier games when I really need to conserve pieces, like say like rare candies, Gardevoirs, so I don't really want to keep burning free ends, because they are phenomenal in the late game when you're in a losing situation. So I play Lily. It is just effectively having like another Gardevoir, because you can go Gallade, rearrange the top cards of your deck, then go like Lily to put your hand up to 6. Yeah, you're locked out your supporter for that turn, but you can still draw really good cards like Gardevoirs or Candies, Fairy Energy, DCE. So the Lily, one Lily has been really good. For me, I've tested this deck a ton, so Lily has been phenomenal. Sycamore, I only want it when I'm on the back foot, having to really draw on the combo pieces, or when I'm really needing to kill. I.e. I need to draw into a lot of Fairy Energy or DCA or stuff like that. So Sycamore does have its uses, not enough for me to play 4 copies though. Before this was 3 Sycamore, because you have the Copy Lily to search it. Then for the supporters, 3 Guzma, pretty standard, and 2 Bridget, also pretty standard. Then moving on to the items, we have 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Rare Candy, nothing really to talk about there, 2 Max Potion, so you're playing half of what the Broken Gardevoir deck, I'm calling it, if you're unfamiliar why it's called the Broken Gardevoir list. So long story short, it was a really good player, called it the Broken deck, and that is where it got its name from. So 2 Max Potion, it is half of what the Broken Guard deck will play, but I still think that is enough to see you through, at least to compete against the mirror, and also the other matchups that Max Potion is good against, like the Devoke strategy, etc. So 2 Max Potion, 2 Field Blower, and 1 Super Rod. Again, half of what the Broken deck is playing, but you are playing Sylveon, which is quicker because you do get to search all your combo pieces. So I do believe having half of them is the trade-off for playing the Sylveon package. So that is the items. For the tools, 2 choice bands, Floatstone you can consider for switching in between the Sylveon, but you mostly just keep the Sylveon in until you are ready to retreat it. Or you can play Ace of Roll, just skip it up, or Max Potion to keep it going, to divide GX if you really want. Then lastly for the card, we're playing 2 stadiums, 2 Parallel City. I want to because unlike Glade, I don't want to prize this because it does have so many uses. We all know just how good Parallel City and Sylveon go together. Nothing really much to say about that, but I do want to prize this because it is just so good against the Zoroark deck. Then for the energy, we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Fairy Energy, and 4 DCE. Because you can search these, you really do want to open EV Fairy Energy, so you can bump this kind up if you want. So we're going to go into like a little stack of cards you can consider if you don't like this list. The 4th Gardevoir. I'm not really sure what meta would take for 4 Gardevoir. I think the old Sylveon Gardevoir deck played 4. Not too sure, but you can put a 4th one in if you want to play a 4, 2 or 3, and then 5 ratio for the routes line. If you're playing lots of mirrors, I guess the Gardevoir would come in pretty handy. The 2nd Glade, put it in if you're playing lots of Zoroark all day long. The 3rd Kirlia, if there's lots of Devolve in your locals. To change it into the quote-unquote Broken deck, you would fire in a Vulpix, a 2nd Glade, the 2nd Super Rod, and 2 Max Potion. That would bring you, if you take out the Sylveon line for those 2, that's the Vulpix and the Glade, you find yourself at Chris Szymanski's list. I'm probably butchered his name. That's his list that he took 3rd at the EUIC. So if you want to take out the Sylveon package, put that in, you find yourself playing the Broken deck. And lastly, for the cards to consider are the 3rd or 4th Sycamore, take out the Lele, put in the 3rd Sycamore, take out something else, put in the 4th Sycamore, go right ahead. The 4th Guzma, if you really want to be aggressive, which I've actually seen some deck lists, well not deck lists, I've heard of decks that have been very aggro this format or this weekend of League Cups. So maybe that is the 4th Guzma, maybe that's what they're playing, I'm not too sure, I haven't seen the list. And the 8th Fairy Energy, they are cards to consider if you want to bring up the list. So let's sort of talk about matchups, but I guess I'll go through them really quickly. In the mirror, they do have the 4 max potion, which kind of sucks, I suppose, but you do have like 2 parallel cities, so you'll see it quicker than them. Parallel city is really good because their bench is usually, or their total Pokemon they have is 2 Gardevoir, 1 Gallade, Octillery, and like a Tapu Lele, so bring it on down. You have to have a choice between like a Gallade, Octillery, Gardevoir they'll probably be left with. So yeah, it just really limits them and what they can do. It limits how many Gardevoir they have in play, which gives you an edge because you're trying to poke them you're trying to 2-hit KO in the mirror. So being able to limit how many Gardevoirs they can put out quicker than they can prevent you. Obviously you can't parallel city over parallel city. So if you're going first, you have a higher chance of opening this card, which is really good. You still have 2 max potion, which is fine. You just have to be a bit more aggressive than they can to try and take the first knockout, because they have the longevity and the stamina, but you have the early game, so that's where you have to sort of take your chance and hit them there. With the Zoroark Gliscopod deck, this deck kills it. To be honest, this deck really does kill it. You have the Gallade, you have Parallel City, your damage output is just far higher than theirs. They can't really afford to put more than 2 energy on a Pokemon, or it's within an immediate range of Gardevoir. So the matchup is really heavily in Guard's favour. Then you got like Metagross. Metagross has been made fine again by the inclusion of the Sylveon package, because you have Play GX that puts 2 Metagrosses, hopefully rare candy, back into the hand, which can put you in a winning position. The metal deck, just pure metal, does really hurt. It makes Sylveon a lot less beefy. They can get stuck into it, which kind of sucks. But yeah, and then it's really all the matchups I can personally think of. Vigabulu started to make a comeback, which is kind of gay, I guess, because all it needs is a Bulu, Choice Band, and Kukui, and it's one-shotting your Gardevoir, and nothing much that a Max Potion can really do about that. So there you go guys, that's the deck. I hope it's as informative as it possibly can be. This is a deck that I have tested tons, this format, so that's why I had the wee stack of cards I've considered. I keep in my deck box just for when I'm testing or solitaring. I can put them in and see what effect those cards have had on consistency and yada yada. So I hope you liked the video. Please feel free to ask me any questions that you feel. If you disagree, I'd love to hear your opinion, because we're all about getting better together at NCG. So yeah, check out our other YouTubes. Please comment, rate, subscribe. But for now, this is Chris from NCG.